if you count Labor Day as the end of summer. Let's enjoy it. Seasonal temperatures here back to the low 90s. A little bit less humidity, we hope. So gonna spend as much time out of doors as I can, and as I assume you will too. Summer is always a fun time. The big news overnight was China did not devalue their currency for the fourth day in a row. In fact, the yuan floated up, I think, 0.4%. So that was taken out. And it's interesting, the stock markets sold with the yuan trading higher. So again, the news focus shifts quickly. You don't really know how the news is going to affect and impact the markets. You just trade what you see, not what you believe. That's what you have to do. Looking at our markets today, volume, and then we have volume down here structurally in the 12 to 14 area where it was yesterday. So this is our attractor, and then we have volume down here. So we could get down to the 127.04.05 level with some help from the other markets in this morning's news. But my guess is we're probably looking at a seller 27 to 24 to 28, and we're probably looking at a buyer in this 16 to 8 area as we start the day. So we'll go ahead and we'll play for that. But we do have news. The first news out is going to be PPI. Inflation can impact the markets now. Why? Because if inflation moves up, it allows the Fed to raise interest rates. And if this number is lower than forecast, we'll see articles about the Fed can't raise interest rates anytime soon because inflation hasn't kicked in. If you go to the supermarket or other places like that, we'd probably argue with them about inflation, but conveniently our government does not count food, gasoline, and shelter as inflation. So PPI is going to be first up, and it'll cause the first news reaction. It's be followed by industrial production, which is the big number, plus 0.4. Manufacturing, IP, plus 0.4. And capacity utilization, 78.4. Now, you really don't pay a lot of attention to capacity utilization until it gets in the 80s, and if inflation is starting to be a problem. So this is the number one focus of the market. Consumer sentiment, 93.5. And Baker Hughes rig count at 1 o'clock Eastern, which can impact crude oil. And I don't have any idea what that number will be. I think it's in the low 600s, maybe mid 600s last time around. So the big news will be IP. Out of Europe, France, Germany, and Italy's preliminary GDP numbers missed. They were lower than forecast. Somehow the EU's preliminary GDP was plus 0.2 or unchanged. Did meet the forecast. And again, that's not very strong growth if you think about it. Plus 0.2 over the course of a year. So, you know, Europe swoons when they can get growth rate of 1%. That shows you what centralized planning, everything that has to go through the government, everything needs a DIN number, everything has to be cross-referenced will do for one's economy. So we do have news today. Industrial production will rule. Cell 1 will be 23 to 27, cell 2 31 to 03. On the buy side, 13 to 17. Then 5 to 9. And we usually look for a pause day. And I've talked about this many times. The reason for that is that everybody that wanted to buy cash treasuries has bought them. So they're satisfied with their purchases. They got what they wanted. Primary dealers have to balance their books and get everything out and find out what they actually did sell, promised to sell. So those two players, unless there's a major piece of news, usually aren't there, and that takes away a lot of the interest, and that usually yields a pause day. So we'll play for a pause day. We'll have to adjust it for the news, no doubt. Okay, looking at the 30-year, the knob spread widened overnight. The market came back pretty nicely. So right here, 19 to 23 is where resistance is. That's S1, then 31 to 03. A lot of the volatility has come out of this. We were looking at 2 to 3 point trading ranges a couple, 3 weeks ago. Now we're looking at 1.5 point trading ranges. On the buy side, 58.01 to 29. We'll put a question mark at 5, but we do have news to get through. We'll come back. And then we'll lower it to 21 to 17. Give it a little bit of room. Like we said, gold probably isn't going to make any big moves lower. The direction is up right now, and because of what's going on in China. So our second buy area yesterday was 11.09 to 11. We just touched 11.12. So again, supports at 10 to 15, and resistance is probably 20 to 25, which is where we'll find ourselves this morning. So 19 to 21, sell 1. 24, 26, sell 2. On the buy side, 10 to 12, buy 1. And then 5 to 7 for buy 2. I would assume we're going to get a pretty quiet trading day if the news is close to forecast. The industrial production number this morning. You know, one of the I put an interesting high frequency trading article up there that you all should read when you get a chance after the session closes today. But again, it just once again shows you that New York based trading and investments, they pay for information. And high frequency trading, they pay for information, i.e. what is the bid and the offer. And you know, we think these guys are such really great traders. They don't have near the skills that we do, because they manipulate and they move the markets. They got enough money to do that. They can front run. They can buy intelligence from companies, from people on their staffs. So again, if you know the answer, it's pretty easy to come up with the correct solution, and that's what they do. So our skills are much more nuanced and finer than theirs. That if you think about it, you know what we have to do to make money. So I you know, it should give you, you know, it should make you feel pretty good about yourself. Okay, the euro, basically a 111 to 112 market. Here we are at 75. We almost made 112, so 90 to the buck, sell 1. Say 20 to 30, sell 2. Pick up this area over here. On the buy side, 40 to 50. Stops below 50. And then 11.25 for buy 2. Don't look for much out of this one today if the news is close to forecast. Crude oil. Okay, I wonder where we had our second buy yesterday in crude. We had 4100, 4125, so it made it down to 35. Then 4150, 4175. So 4150, 4175, our number one buy area, held up pretty good. So end of the week short covering is a real possibility here. The spill from 4275, 4250, that's where we are right now. So we'll put, I think we can get stops above the day session highs. So we'll pick this up here, let them get stops above this spill. Sell 175 to the buck, sell 2 43.25, 43.50. On the buy side, 41.75, 42. And we're really playing for end of the week short covering. Obviously we got to get to 42.50 to get to 75, but I think we can do that. Just in a stop play. Okay, the yuan was up last night actually in stock markets, so imagine that. So what drives the markets? What drives the trading? It's really, really very difficult to say what is driving the market and what can I trade off of. So we have a 2100, 2110 on the top side, and we've got a 2150 to 60 support where it stands right now, and you can see we've got the attractor here at 75. We are pointed lower. We got a low volume number at 70, so 70, 72 by 1. And then 65, 67 by 2. On the sell side, 79, 81, sell 1, 84, 86, sell 2. And it's going to be down to the industrial production number. We had last night a sell at basically 80 to 85. Well, I had 88 to 90, so 85 held last night. So this 85 area to 90 is probably where resistance is right now, and 65 to 70 is where I see support. So down to the news, PPI. Both core and PPI at plus 1/10. It'll cause reaction, but the big number is IP at plus 4/10. If that number comes in at 4/10 or higher, the Fed can raise interest rates sooner rather than later. Capacity utilization, nobody pays any attention to, at 78.4. Consumer sentiment at 93.5. 93.5, not 95.3. So this will be 1. This is the big number today. Industrial production 2. And macroeconomics says that could come in lower, but if it comes out at plus 4/10 or higher, the Fed can raise interest rates sooner rather than later. The stock market should sell, and consumer sentiment will finish off the news for the day. Okay, it'll take a bit to get everything posted. I'm going to get busy on it. I'll be back with you as soon as I can.